Hi guys, welcome to Lenette Looks. Today I'm going to be discussing The Vanishing Half. I really wanted to love this book, but in all honesty, I have to give a fair review. This book I had very high expectations for because again, it's another hugely popular book on the internet, and it won awards. I mean, this book is raved about. And I really didn't want to have such an unpopular opinion. So my opinion is kind of unpopular because it is such a highly loved and highly liked book. And I must agree that this plot of the story is so interesting. The subject matter is super important, and I wish I would have loved it. But I'll tell you why in a second. Let's first dive into the plot. It is a historical fiction novel, and it follows twin sisters Desiree and Stella in the segregated South back then, and they live in a town called Mallard in Louisiana. You'll find a lot of colorism in that town. It explores that, how they frown upon darker skinned black people. With these twin sisters, it follows their lives because their lives go in totally two different directions. One sister, Desiree, marries a darker skinned black man and has a daughter who is dark complexion. And the other sister, she actually passes for white, and she totally strips her identity of being a black woman and goes on to live a life as a white woman. And she marries a white man, and she has a daughter. She prayed that her daughter would come out also white. So it follows the white, meaning fair complexion, that nobody would know, would have any clue as to what race Stella really is. So what an interesting plot, right? What an interesting storyline to dive into. So it follows the two sisters, and we learn about them, we learn about their lives, we get to know each one and how different their lives are. I do recommend this story. It really interested me so much, and it interested so many others. This book has won awards. This book has been spoken about very highly. But I must say, surprisingly enough, as much as that subject matter dove me in, and the fact that it was so popular I had to read it, I gave it 2 stars. Because the subject matter, I wanted her to dive in more, and I felt like it wasn't explored enough. And I was so looking, the plot could have been explored so much. It could have been so much more detailed and exciting and riveting and interesting. And if that was the case, I would have cared so much more about these characters. It did keep my attention. It did keep me there because I was looking forward to an explosive event at the end to for her to wrap things up. Okay, so I'm kind of moving forward too fast, but let me get back to these sisters. One of the sisters needs to get a job, and so she goes out to the interview, and she goes to the place, and they actually mistook her for white, and she decides to go along with it. And in doing that, there's so much that goes along with it, because now you're not going to want to talk to black people, because back then, the white people stay with the white people, and you know how that went. She winds up staying at this job. They think she's white. She's now eating with her boss, and he thinks she's white. And guess what? They wind up having a relationship. She has another identity. She's living another life. Isn't this like, whoa? This let the plot thicken, right? And getting more interesting. And it does, but every time the author dove into the characters, she pulls away, and you're like, wait a second, stay there, keep going. I want to know more about this. So in any case, she they fall in love. And she winds up leaving and getting married with him. I'm kind of forwarding this, and I'm not spoiling anything. Well, maybe I am a little bit. I'll put a spoiler in the title on this. But she winds up falling in love with him, and they fall in love and they get married. Guys, they have a child together. She's totally living a different life. And her sister doesn't know what happened to her. She totally goes and she lives a different life with her husband now, with her daughter. And she doesn't see her mom. That means she cannot have any connections to them because she doesn't want to get found out that she's not white. Oh my God, my hairs are standing up. Isn't that how, like, you would have to strip away any like emotional ties? You know how hard that is? I mean, I can only imagine. This story, I felt, could have been explored so much more, and I don't want to like give away too much, but it was a long story, and there was another subject that was explored on a character that is transgender, and I wish she would have went further and deeper and got to know him. For us readers to get to know him even more, because that's another subject that I feel like can't be, just lightly passed by. That person was actually the romantic interest of the other sister. So I felt like I wanted to know more about him. I wanted to go to explore, because she kind of gave hints, and I felt like it was very light-footed, but I wanted to get to know him. This was a character and a subject that she brought up, and I felt like it was kind of, she was skimming the surface on these characters. I wanted more. I wanted more details. I wanted more to get to know these characters better, and I felt like she skimmed the surface. And on such a subject, I wish it would have been, these main characters would have been explored more. Their emotional states, why they're doing what they're doing, having better conversations between the characters. I gave this book 2 stars on Goodreads. Yes, I did. And I said that I would not be reviewing a book that I felt did not give me the wow factor, or whatever you want to call it, or a book that I really love. But I must say, I really liked the book until how it ended. And I was so upset how it ended that I gave it 2 stars, guys. I gave the book 2 stars, but you know what? So many people love this book. So many people gave it 5 stars. This book won awards, and I understand why. But I just felt like she left the ending, and I'm not going to give away anything, but she left it so dry. I couldn't believe she left it where she left it. I couldn't believe she left it where she left it. And I felt robbed. I felt robbed of a proper ending for these characters. I really did. So for that reason, such a grand, such a important subjects, and she could have dove in more and, man, wrap it up in the end. And she left it, I felt like she left the characters' relationships, especially, I can't say what I want to say because I'm gonna spoil it, but the relationships that were created, I'm gonna put it that way, she left them without, I wanted more. She did not seal the deal. It didn't do it for me, that ending. And I was very disappointed. I was unhappy with the ending. I was like, what? You're leaving it there? But what happens with this? Why didn't this happen? Come on, like, give me more. Is there a part 2 to this? this book could have been, for me, a 5-star book review, but because I was so disappointed with the ending, I honestly, it just, I was like, it's such a long book. There's so many great pieces of the story that I felt could have all been enhanced, but when she went into a character, it was like you go in and she left us wanting a proper, she left me wanting a proper ending for these characters. And I wanted to get more emotion from the sister who left. Do you know how heart-wrenching? I mean, she left and she's become a totally different person, and she just ghosted her sister, her mom. She doesn't see them anymore at all. And I feel like she left the character a little empty, because with all that, give me more emotion from this character. I felt like there had to be more. There were things that I really enjoyed with this book. Diving into the subject matter, I felt like was really important subjects to talk about and discuss. I was looking for so much more than what was given, and again, it was the ending that did it for me. So in any case, I think you should still read this book. So many people have read this book and loved it and enjoyed it and thought it was brilliant, and I must agree that the subject matter was a brilliant topic to bring up, and it's because it is a very important topics, and for that reason I really wish she would have wrapped it up in a different way. You know, I was left like empty at the end, like what the heck. Okay. So, I recommend that you read this book. Let me know your thoughts if you read The Vanishing Half, and comment. Drop me a comment, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel because it helps me in making more videos. So on that note, guys, I'll see you on the next one.